The Hazleton City Council regular meeting will come to order on Tuesday, March 25th, 2014. It's now 7:22. Rise for a moment of silent meditation. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Bast,
Here.
Cassatt,
Here.
Mope, here. Sosar,
Here.
Mundy.
Here. First on our agenda is approving the minutes of the previous meeting, March 11, 2014.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes passed. Next, proclamations, communications, none. Courtesy of the floor regarding matters on our agenda only. Go ahead.
D. Deacus, this concerns ordinance 2014-3. I was looking at it, and we're talking about eliminating a paper street, which is fine. But the thing I just noticed was that the street borders a playground. Why don't we give the 22 extra feet to the playground rather than to a private individual and just have a larger playground? That's the first issue. If you decide to let this person have it, are we going to see any property taxes? Because now we have a portion of this property in Hazleton, and there should be some kind of tax consequence for it. Thank you.
Any other questions on our agenda only? That's it. Old business, none. And before we get into our ordinances, we had an executive session earlier regarding a case with Verkusky. Our attorney Slesser discussed it in executive session for a few minutes. Next ordinance is ordinance 2014-3, an ordinance authorizing the vacation of a portion of 11th Street between Arthur and Taylor Court.
Presented.
Second.
On the question?
Is there anybody here that can discuss about what was brought up by Dee?
You know, and I do think that's a good idea at this point. If we are ceding land to that, I would think that that would have to go on the tax rolls as part of a person's property. So the sooner that we would notify at least the proper authorities within the county for that, I think that's a good idea. You know, how that would work on into a playground, I'm not sure, but certainly if somebody's taking advantage of land that is a landowner, it's their responsibility property-wise and tax-wise to take care of it. So I would agree with that.
I think it's just the thing. I don't think we have 22 feet. I think we just have the abutting, according to the map. I don't think we actually have the 22 feet. If you look at the map, I think it's just the line right up to it.
Is anybody here that, what's her name?
Like I don't think it was half ours. I think it's just the abutting property line.
Well, the
If you look at-
engineer's not here. We could have asked him.
Joe, Mayor, are you familiar with this, or
Yes.
Could you answer? Could you
I'm
help us? Could you help us
familiar with
out?
it. This was a paper street, as was noted, and the township divides it and offers it to both adjacent property owners, and you have the right to refusal, and we would refuse it. If you look, it's actually in the township. It's not in Hazleton.
That's what
Look
I
on the
thought.
side there, where it says 11th Street. You see the boundary is right on the opposite side of the street.
It's on the southern side.
Right, so it's only offered to us, and we refused it because we have a fence there. To go for the 22, it would be more expensive. Plus, we'd have to maintain that. They're going to maintain it. They have been maintaining it for years, so.
And the taxes would go to township, am I correct?
Oh, yeah, it's not in Hazleton.
That's what I thought.
She read it wrong.
That's what I thought, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? So you're okay with this, Mayor?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes,
Sosar,
Yes,
Mundy.
Yes. Third reading
presented.
a second.
on the question? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes,
Sosar,
Yes,
Mundy.
Yes. Next are resolutions. Resolution 2014-40, appointment to the zoning board, Michael Lee.
I'll make a motion to take it off the table.
Second.
Roll call to vote to take it off the table?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
yes,
Sosar,
yes,
Mundy.
Yes.
I'll present the motion or the resolution.
I'll second.
On the question? I guess, is Michael here?
Yes.
Okay, Mike, you could get to the podium and just state your name and your address?
Michael Lee, 125 Wilson Drive in Hazleton. I lived in Hazleton, born and raised.
Could you pull the microphone up there? Thank you.
Born and raised in Hazleton. My family's all from Hazleton also. I've been, I could, just to give you a little bit, I'll go through my
Go
resume
ahead,
a
you
little
could,
bit.
you could do that.
I'm a graduate from Wilkes University, 2004, with a business administration degree. Since then, I've been in sales and management, selling industrial supplies to the local businesses in Hazleton for the past 10 years. Working with, coming up with different solutions to help businesses be more productive and more efficient. And currently, I'm still doing that right now. As for experience in zoning, I don't have much experience in zoning, but I am, willing to learn.
You'll be a quick learner.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's experienced with zoning.
And, I do think I'm qualified to sit down, with the committee and definitely make the right decisions.
Do you have the time to put into it? Like when
yes.
they meet at night, you're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm willing to serve, donate my time and serve for the city of Hazleton.
Is Nate Lee your uncle?
I'm sorry,
Is Nate Lee your uncle?
Nate is, he's a cousin.
Cousin? Okay.
Yeah, cousin of my father,
That's
yep.
okay.
who were your grandparents? Were they Seal and Jimmy?
Seal and Jimmy, yes. And then the other side is Mickey Scatton.
I know.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call?
Excuse me. Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes,
Sosar,
yes,
Mundy.
Yes.
Thank you.
New business ordinances, none. Resolutions. Resolution 2014-42, authorizing a contract with Barry Eisen and Associates for the engineering services for the Office of Community Development.
Present.
second.
On the question. Okay, Fallon, maybe you could come up and answer some questions for us?
Yeah, I want to ask.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, Fallon, one of the reasons that we wanted Barry Isaac to continue on because they were in the middle of that project with Green Street. Now, do you have any idea how long it's going to take that project to,
For Green Street,
yeah.
I just submitted a letter to DCED today to get an extension for the ISRP grant. We're going to pick up as soon as, if you vote accordingly tonight, we're going to pick up tomorrow and have them start getting the drill cuttings done, and we'll be ready to go. So I'm anticipating, I don't want to say exactly, but I'm saying within the next maybe 6 to 8 months.
Till you get through with phase 3?
No, this will be phase 2.
Phase 2,
And then phase 3 will be to complete the rest of the work with the vapor sample soils.
okay, so how long do you think that will take? I mean,
I would have to confer with the engineer, but I don't think it would be that long, a couple of months.
Fallon, I was under the impression that some of Phase 3 needed to start being applied for rather soon.
Well, we just received word from HUD that we're going to be able to use some HUD money for our 2014 CDB allocation amount to go ahead and apply for the ISRP grant.
Okay.
So once we get the letter from HUD actually saying we're approved for, X amount of dollars, then I can go ahead and apply for the ISRP grant.
Okay, great, thank you.
thank you, Fallon.
Anything else?
I have one other question, Fallon. Are the contracts for 3 years, or was the last contract?
This one, I think, if you know what, let me double check. Yep, 14, 15, and 16.
Was the previous one 3 years, or
The previous one, I think, was for 12, 13, and option for 14. So it was like a 2, possible 3-year. That's how the last one was. It was for 2012, 13, and possibility to renew for 14.
And why are we 3 years with this one, or is that what they wanted? Is that what you wanted?
I just did the general standard from before. Not from the last one, the one before that. And that's what I did with all the others, with the engineering, with the accounting, and with the consulting as well. 3 years.
Would they have a problem if we did the same thing, 2 years with the option to renew for the third?
I think I would have to converse with them. I don't see an issue, but
What
I think
did
3
they,
years is standard.
What did they bid on?
3 years. They did 3 years.
I don't think you can change
14,
it.
15, and 16, and that's what was put out to bid.
That was in the bid specs?
Yeah, that was in the specs, yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay,
Good?
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes,
Yes.
Sosar, Mundy.
Yes. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2014-43, the appointment of Director of Administration, Tom Prabula.
I'll present.
Second.
On the question, Tom, maybe you could come to the podium for some questions?
Sure, no problem.
Or, no, you can stay there. You have a mic, I'm sorry. You could stay there, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I forgot you had a mic. Any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah. Mr. Prabula, a couple questions, if you don't mind, sir. Number one, and I think it's an important one, not only for City Council, but also the people of Hazleton to hear your answer to this one. Who do you work for in the city, sir?
Well, from an organizational chart standpoint, the mayor.
And only the mayor?
Well, I feel I work for all the citizens of Hazleton in moving the city forward and trying to make it better, financially sound, making sure things are done properly. As far as a day-to-day direct report, like I said, by an organizational chart, I report to the mayor on an ongoing basis. But obviously, I worked for the county. I felt like I worked for every individual in the county, and I feel like I work for everybody in watching over the taxpayers' money within the city.
Answerable to council as well?
Sure.
This would be another interesting question, because I know that you started work just about 2 weeks ago, I guess, sir, right? On the
Thursday.
13th?
I believe so.
I think it was the 13th, yeah, and it's now the 25th. What budget are you enacting right now, sir?
Well, what I inherited in the system was the 2013 budget. There's a process. I mean, we don't have the most modern accounting system, so it hasn't been loaded yet. And it's not significantly different, so I'm able to at least, assess the spending versus it, and the tax rate's the same. So, I mean, that's what we're marking against right now.
The taxing rate may be the same, but there are differences within the budget. And I guess what I'm asking right now is, are you recognizing the differences, and are you recognizing the city council's budget as the budget to be used?
Well, I see three different budgets, and I'm waiting for a final determination which budget to load, because again, it's a labor-intensive process, and it would be silly to load it multiple times if there's a conflict.
So the answer to that right now would be that you're not sure which one you're enforcing, but you're enforcing something.
Basically, and like I said, the 2013 budget is not significantly different, and you're able to manage to approximate the same bottom line.
This is going to be somewhat of a more personal one, but as a public employee, there are no secrets on this one. What is your salary?
The recommended salary was $70,000.
You're being paid $70,000 right now?
That's correct.
That's interesting. Because that's not the salary that is in the council budget. So in other words, you are not going to follow the council budget.
What salaries in the other budgets?
I didn't ask that.
No,
I
answer
mentioned-
that.
I mentioned, and I'm not going to get into an argument.
Well, I know you're not,
I'm
because
not
it's the
getting
same
into an argument.
salary.
The salary of the council budget is a little bit different. Mr. Prabula, are you also familiar with the third-class city code at all, sir? I know you worked in county government, but the third-class city code on, or not city code, but the third-class code on counties is a bit different than the third-class city code. Are you familiar with the third-class city code, and have you worked with that, sir?
Well, I mean, obviously I don't have it memorized, but I have it right on my desk, and I am somewhat familiar with the third-class city code.
Okay. I'll pass to anybody else who has any questions for right now.
Oh, I don't have a question, but, well, maybe I do. And this is nothing personal. This is what I said when Steve was being appointed. I see your address is on Wapwallopen. Do you have any plans of moving to the city at any time?
No, I do not.
Okay. Only because it's up to our discretion if we want to choose somebody from out of the city. And I feel it's beneficial, and it has nothing to do with your qualifications. It has nothing to do with you personally. I always just felt that it was better to have a city administrator from the city of Hazleton, as is if something should happen with our mayor, like it did with Mayor Borletta, all right? When he was off, the city administrator filled in his position, so somebody from Wapwallopen would be running the city of Hazleton. That's my only problem that I have. Thank you.
Jeff, any questions?
No, that's all I was going to ask about relocating to the city, and if we had to make a motion to exempt it, but I guess.
No, you don't.
Is that, Chris, does he have to live inside the city? I mean, I know at the time of hiring, it says you don't have to be thing, but kind of leaves it as.
That's the difference. If you read the two different third-class city code,
Yes,
they're talking about a city administrator,
Yes.
which is a manager. In this position, if you read this, he's director. Director can live outside the city.
No.
A director can live outside the city. Where do your police officers live and firemen?
Optional.
Where do they live?
They have a 10-mile radius.
Well, that's, where do you think Dorrance is?
Well,
Dorrance is in the same distance as a police officer who responds to calls in the city. There's no difference.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're going to get particular, if you're looking for something, that to me is no difference than any other employee of the city.
Excuse me, optional plan, section 416, under mayor and administrative. At the time of his appointment, he need not be a resident of the city or state, but during his tenure of office, he may reside outside of the city only with the approval of council. He shall have, exercise, and discharge the functions, powers, and duties of the department under the direction of the supervision of the mayor shall assist in the preparation of budget, administer centralized purchasing system, and perform such other duties as may be prescribed by council.
Okay.
I believe
So you could approve it, but you're not going to approve it because it's too far.
I'm
Or
not gonna
what
approve it
reason?
because I think people that
But what reason would you
live in the
disapprove?
Excuse me, you know what? I don't think that it's time right now to get into an argument on this about all of this kind of stuff. Right now, we have some questions that we have from Mr. Prabula. And, Mr. Chairman, I think we ought to keep those questions to Mr. Prabula.
Okay. Keith, do you have any?
I came and met with him this afternoon for quite some time and asked him pretty much all the questions I needed to at that time. So I didn't want to take up an hour and a half tonight. So I came this afternoon, and everything that I needed to know, I discussed with him this afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I just want to ask Chris, is it okay that he lives outside the area? That's,
I don't think, and I apologize, I didn't bring my code with me this evening, but I don't believe that there's a requirement in the optional plan provision regarding residency. I think that the provision you read is in the third-class city code regarding the administrator, and as the mayor indicated, he's designated Mr. Prabula as the department head, department administration head, so I think that arguably is not required under that provision, Jeff, under this title.
okay, thank you.
So, in other words, let me get this straight. I just read you something from the optional plan, and you said you don't think it's required.
I think what you read from the third-class city code.
Optional plan, I read.
You have the.
No, I don't have it here.
Right here.
I don't have my.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
They could approve him where he lives. It doesn't matter. He's not going to move. I mean,
I know.
I'm going to be here
I know.
maybe a year and a half.
I just have one or two quick questions, Mr. Bubble. Are you going to be attending council meetings?
That'll be my decision.
Okay, you answered it. Thank you. That's your decision. Okay.
It
Well, then
is.
I
It is my
Then
decision.
I made my
whether-
decision. Okay.
Well, yeah.
You know you can't
well,
make your
I knew
decision.
I knew that coming
we're
in.
done. We're done. Roll call.
You know, Jack, you can't make your decision
Roll
based
call.
on that. You have to make it based on the
Roll-
person's
roll-
qualifications.
Read your third-class city code. Before you vote, read your third-class city code.
Okay.
You have to judge him on his qualifications,
Okay.
not
Roll
on
call.
what I said, on his qualifications.
Thank you. I know where you stand and he stands. Roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
No.
Mope,
No.
Sosar,
No.
Monday.
No. Next on our agenda is Resolution 2014-44, authorizing the Slusher Law Firm to engage the services of Robson Forensic, an expert in the case of Thomas Verkusky versus Richard Weck and the City of Hazleton.
Presented.
Second.
On the question.
I'm sorry, who presented?
Dave.
Dave.
On the question?
No, I think, just for the record, Attorney Slusser gave us quite a bit of information, and we dealt a lot with this within the executive session. I think we are all kind of on the same page right now of knowing where we're going, and I would encourage us to vote at this point in favor of this and leave it.
Any other the one thing I guess we had stressed that for a set amount of money, we're hopefully going to get an opinion, and if that can't happen.
Let me stop you right there for one second, if I might. I am very clear on the direction of council as part of discussion in executive session. I would be concerned about revealing too much of that discussion.
I know.
Because it may hamper our further efforts.
Okay, okay. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Okay, roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Cassatt,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Sosar,
Yes.
Mundy.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's it for resolutions. Comments from the audience?
There was an interesting story, there was an interesting story in the Times Leader about Hazleton wanting to maybe annex the airport land. Did council ever approve doing anything like that?
No.
Because first of all, you had the city engineer going to the Luzerne County Board of Elections, their registration, asking about putting it on the ballot. Did we have anything in the budget to allow for it?
Dee, maybe I can just stop
Go ahead.
you right there, okay? One of the things that needs to be done is we don't put it on the ballot, and we don't annex. We look for the land if we want to try to get the land, but it has to go through Hazel Township. They have to be willing to cede that land to us. This is an annexation, but it's really Hazel Township's to give the land to the body, not Hazleton's. This is not an invasion that we would be asking for at this point, and that was totally erroneous as to what was stated as far as annexing that piece of land. So rather than to really worry about that at this point, I don't think Hazel Township is going to put a referendum vote up to give us part of their land. I don't even care what size it is. And that's really what has to be.
Okay, no, I'm just talking about the fact that we had the city engineer trying to put it on the
Right.
ballot.
Right.
Maybe you should have gone in front of our city solicitor, and we didn't have anything in the budget about it. And
No,
this is what I was
and there wouldn't be.
concerned.
And I agree.
Who's paying for these services?
No.
Exactly. I have no idea. We didn't
No,
know anything about it.
that
I'm not
is
sure
a-
about the rest of council, but I knew nothing about it.
When was it in, Dee?
Yesterday,
It was
wasn't
in
it?
Mondays here.
Monday?
Monday?
You have it, can we make a copy of the article, or we'll have Lisa make a copy of it?
Yeah, at the end of the meeting.
That was brought to me this morning by people in Wilkes-Barre, and they were laughing at it, saying how that everybody would know that it has to be Hazel Township that has to be willing to cede the land. It doesn't work the other way. So that there's just no way that's going to happen.
Okay, no, just saying.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dee.
Ladies and gentlemen, longtime resident of Hazleton, you've never seen me at council meetings, but something happened a couple weeks ago that prompted me to show up. About the house that was...
Excuse me, sir, could you state your name and your address,
Oh, I'm
please?
sorry, yes.
Please.
My name is William Boran. I live at 319 West Green,
Okay.
just up the street.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Addressing the house with the chickens and roosters in it. I know everybody knows about it. And the flag already should have been up because, well, there were roosters in the house. And what the chickens and roosters are being used for, your best guess. Okay? I'm pretty sure we all have our suspicions. So, that would never have been found out if there hadn't been a fire in that house. The question is, how long was that going on? And of course, the obvious question is, are there other houses in Hazleton that contain exactly the same thing? I mean, we've all heard rumors about dogfighting. We've had the drugs, the gangs, prostitution, shooting, stabbings, and a host of other problems. What is to say that cockfighting isn't actually going on? Call me a suspicious person, but the roosters were there. Now, whether they're being consumed or not for food, I don't know. Again, your guess is as good as mine. So my comment to the council, ladies and gentlemen, is you consider a resolution of some sort to inspect rental properties in this city. You may expose more than you want to expose by doing that. I know it costs a lot of money. I know it takes a lot of time. And I know the city health department is running all over trying to catch cats and dogs and, deal with what else. My real concern here is disease. If these chickens are not federally inspected or sold by said Tractor Supply Company in West Hazleton, everybody knows it's chick days. People are buying chicks and roosters, but they're also living in areas where it's allowed. And being that Luzerne County only allows 40,000 square foot for 10 chickens, there's no telling how many other houses or apartments or other buildings that are being used for this. So I asked the council to consider in your minds the possibility of this happening. I believe it already is. I'm not saying I know anything to say, yes, I've got the proof. But the proof were the roosters. And I see Mr. Sosar nodding his head. I honestly believe something is going on here. I also was in contact with the city health department about a container that comes up Spruce Street every couple of weeks and drops off supplies from, I have no idea where. Could be coming from Patterson, could be coming from Philadelphia. And I was told the next time I see the container, I'm to call. And they will go up and check to see what's coming in. Because we all know, once the container leaves port, if the lock is unlocked or cut off, anything can be taken out or put into that container. And I do intend to call. Because, things happen. I mean, we have it all. Just think about it. Now we've got the chicken problem. Mr. Sosar.
If I can suggest one thing, one of the things that I think we live in an age right now, and believe me, I'm not trying to get off the hook. I live on 2nd and Alter, okay?
Second Alter.
You can roll your eyes.
God bless you, man. That used to be my old neighborhood.
Thank you. So I know what you're speaking of, and I'm familiar with the area where the chickens were rather well at this point. And I don't want to go too far because I think that there are problems with liability and everything else that we need to talk about.
Right.
We live in a time period when people in this area, however, do need, and I can't believe that within a neighborhood, I mean, when we hear something, I'll be honest with you, I have not, I joke about it, but my sons and my wife and I have 911 on speed dial because that's what we have to do. And we've called because of situations in our neighborhood a number of times. When people hear things, and I just shake my head when I hear the idea that there were roosters, and nobody heard anything. I can't believe that was the day they were brought in, okay?
Right.
We do have to be more vigilant. And I would suggest to you as well, not only call if you see that truck, but also we have, and I don't know, sir, and I may be talking because I'm not a techie either, but I have a cell phone that can take a picture. Even with the picture, that we've got something that we can show the authorities and show everybody, look where they're coming from, look at the address, look at what's on this picture, so that we can put an end to some of this.
Yeah.
I think is important, and that we can ask you to do. We will be more than happy to do our part, as long as we can get the good citizens of Hazleton to also do some of the legwork as well. And that doesn't put you in danger in any way. It just has the information that we can give to the appropriate authorities.
Right, exactly.
And I understand what you're talking about, though, because I just can't imagine what 80 chickens as a mess would leave on a daily basis.
You can only imagine.
That's disease. That's disease.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, I don't want to
disease.
go far because we're talking liability and everything else here.
And that brings me to this point about liability. If such an ordinance was adopted, all the little stores that sell chicken in particular as a main menu item, I believe need to be checked on to see where their chicken is coming from. Is it USDA inspected? And are the citizens that are eating in these restaurants and various locations susceptible to disease? because you'll only know it when you hear about it. Just like the fire, it's exactly the same thing. I mean, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, folks, but it exists, believe me, it really does. And I think if the citizens were more vigilant, I mean, it's hard not to hear chickens cackling. It's hard not to hear roosters crowing. And I did notice, I was telling a couple ladies here, in my yard, since I feed the native birds and squirrels and chipmunks, I did notice I had a lot of pigeons last year. Doves I'm used to, pigeons I'm not. And there were a lot of them, and they were really big. They were really big, like the roosters in that house. And all of a sudden, they're not there anymore. And I know the city doesn't kill pigeons. So again, we're talking about food source? I don't think so. Thank you kindly for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll keep my eyes open. Thank you.
You're next, Sylvia.
Mark Rabo, First Street. I just want to say I concur with everything that gentleman said, and I actually want to add that as somebody who had addressed county council for opposing the lifting of the ordinance against the ban on backyard chickens, this is the prime example of why we can't allow that to happen. And also, I wanted to address council that I attended the joint meeting of the Senate and House Urban Affairs Committee on Act 90, which addresses nuisance abatement and also blighted properties, which the gentleman, says about for the, for code enforcement and enforcing any property that allows for this kind of stuff to happen. And Philadelphia implemented it, and they've had some successful results. And the one thing we don't have up here that they have down there, which Act 90 allows for, is a blight court. And they said that their properties, 80% of them were in compliance after they were taken to this blight court. And they got about $1 million in fees, which actually overran the costs that would allow for and also it was based on targeted code enforcement, not a wholesale sweep. So I believe if we get this implemented, which is going to have to be, it's going to be required anyway under the recodified third-class city code, which takes effect on May 18th, which addresses this. If I can, it says for nuisance abatement, this new article modernizes and consolidates provisions relating to the investigation and elimination of public nuisances. Current obsolete provisions found in sections 4140 through 4143 that authorize City Council to petition the Court of Common Pleas to appoint a board of viewers to inspect alleged nuisances would be repealed. Section 2701A defines public nuisances as any conduct or any property or condition or use thereof declared to be a public nuisance under this act or any other law. And number 2, conduct or property if a city department determines that it endangers the health and safety or causes harm, inconvenience, discomfort, damage, or injury to any one or more persons or property in the city, menaces, hazards, and unsafe buildings that are insufficiently maintained by the definition would be elements of a public nuisance. Section 2702A would require council to designate the department to which reports of the existence of a possible public nuisance would be made, and the department so assigned will be responsible for investigations. Any property inspection conducted pursuant to this section or 2704A relating to prior notice of abatement is subject to administrative warrant provided in section 2308. Now, if we had this for the other properties, including McKinley Street, and like that gentleman said, I think that the city wouldn't have any problems with dealing with this kind of stuff. But right now, I guess we got to wait till May 18th. So I hope that, and also I was made aware today that the Redevelopment Authority met on the 6th. I think Fallon said on the 6th. So they met without the Blighted Properties Committee in place, which I've been, as you know, addressing the mayor on for the past couple months. And that is a violation of Section 10.2, subsection B of the redevelopment law. So just want to make sure you guys were aware of that. So
Thank you.
all right.
I don't know, Lisa, would you make sure the mayor gets a memo on that about the blighted property committee?
Sylvia Thomas from Hazleton. Well, first of all, I want to say the mayor left, his solicitor left, but yet Mr. Prabula, who has been rejected, has enough courtesy to sit there for the rest of the meeting, and I thank you. I'm here because of the city tax bill I got. It was listed debt service, and that accounted for about 40% of the bill. What exactly is debt service? Could someone explain it to me? Is it borrowing that city does?
Yeah, it is. So
It is.
Before, previous, the bills weren't separated like they are now.
Well,
They're more clear. But it didn't change from the last bill.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know if it was
I mean,
listed
it
as...
changed it's more, it took it out of where it was and separated it.
That accounted for about 40%
Can I
of my
answer
bill.
that, please?
Go ahead, go ahead, Tom, you could. Go
If
ahead.
you don't mind.
Go ahead.
When I received a sample of the billing, I assume that's the way it was always billed here. It's actually wise to break out the billing and show a dedicated millage to debt service because it shows that a municipality, city, county, whatever, is fiscally sound when they break out and dedicate a debt service specifically assigned to that.
Well, at least you were being honest about it.
There's a 2005 GO bond, I believe, and also a 2011 revenue note, and those are the two outstanding debt issues that is the dedicated tax to repay.
That when I realized it was like 40% of my tax bill, it got me mad, really. Because, well, you know, I'm going to have to say it the way it is. This city is not run by laws and rules. It's not run by leadership. It's run by temperament. It's bossiness, and it's fight work instead of cooperation. And what do we get for our money? The other day I went down, well, today I went to St. Gabriel's, and I went down Wyoming Street. I counted 15 empty stores just on the right-hand side of the street, and some of them were boarded up. I mean, it's a disgrace. Coming home, I went on 5th Street by Sherman Court, piles of garbage, and I complained about that before. I even put it in one of my letters to the editors. Piles of garbage. On Sunday, I went to see to pick my sister up in West Hazleton. I'm on 1st between Locust and James. It looked like Harlem, and that's what our money is going for. And it seems like we're only going for debt. We're only paying for debt, and it's getting worse instead of better. And in the meantime, our city is going to pot. And I'm getting tears in my eyes just talking about it, because I love my city. I was born here and I was raised here. But it's just, then we're asked to pay for this registration fee, inspection fee, water runoff fee, and it goes on and on and on, and this is what we get for our money. Places like Wyoming Street and 5th and Sherbert and Court. It just has me upset. I hope you do something about it. And if I could help you in any way, let me know.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Diana Jessel Sturba. I live on 2nd and James, 545. I am up to here with the vandalism. My car in the last 6 months, the window was BB'd twice, slashed tire, smashed on the right-hand side a couple days ago. I have to get awakened from my sleep by a knock and my dog barking by the police. And they say, "Oh, Mrs. Jessel, we know you. You don't have to show us your insurance card. You've been hit so many times." I have had it on James Street. James Street is like the Talladega of Florida is, or wherever Talladega, yeah, that's right. But I'm tired of it. I am just so tired of this vandalism of cars. I'm sick of it. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm a good shot. I've had guns all my life, and you know what? I'm an eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. I am up to here with it. I'm a retired nurse. I have neuropathy. I live on that street. I want peace and quiet. And 2, 3, 4 in the morning, you hear BBs. The other night, 6 of us got it again. I've had it. I've had it.
Thank you. Jim.
Any other questions or comments?
Norman Tarantino, 154 North Lee Court in Hazleton. 2 things. With the previous Director of Administration was going to be checking on the parking situation on Holly Street between Wyoming going, I guess, east. And he told me that they needed the signs that need to be replaced, need to have the logos on them, that you can read without seeing them. And I just want to make sure that action doesn't fall by the wayside, that we still follow through with looking at that situation.
I wasn't aware of it, sir, but what's the streets again, please?
It's on Holly Street, going, I guess would be east from Laurel Street going east. People are parking on the north side of Holly Street where there's no parking, and there's a lot of, and the signs, the one sign between, I guess, Laurel and Manhattan Court is faded out that you can't read, and there is a no parking on that side of the street that is visible between Manhattan Court and Wyoming Street, but it makes going down with the way the people are parking really hard for it to be a two-way street, and nobody's has been enforcing that parking. I just don't want to see that fall by the wayside, that the issue doesn't disappear after I brought up at the previous council meeting. So I just want to bring that up again.
I'll follow up with it, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The other thing I want to find out about, I know the city is always looking for revenue and things like that. I would like to know when the last time we had a citation filed for somebody not sending out their recyclables, because I see a lot of my neighborhood people not putting out their recyclables to their garbage. I'm very anal about making sure my recyclables go out every week, and nobody has followed through. And we're looking for ways that we can get some income to the city. We need to enforce some of the ordinances and regulations that we already have on the books. And I think one of the first ones would be the way people are putting out their garbage and the way some of the recyclables are not being handled properly by people putting them out on their garbage nights.
We will send the memo to Mark. Lisa, could you send a memo to Mark about recyclables?
Yeah.
There is a,
Go ahead.
there is, as I remember correctly, and has been for a number of years, $10,000 grant that the Water Authority does not get, the city gets for recyclable containers. Mm-hmm. And the city keeps them here in, as I remember correctly, is the city garage, or are they at downstairs? Downstairs here. If there are people who are in need of recycling bins, it is to the city. And Lisa, you may want to, in fact, again, send a memo over to the mayor to remind him to get the recyclables, or put notice on out that the recyclables containers can be had here.
Because I've used my own
and it's
containers.
important because, and you know what, I would really love to see some kind of lid on them, because we've had wind right now. I'll be honest with you. I've traveled down our Church Street, Norman, on Sunday, and I was embarrassed to say that I was driving down the street in Hazleton. Now that's a highway, I understand that, but that's where people really see Hazleton the most. And the wind, now this is not really anybody's fault, but it is. How long does it take to pick up a container? How long does it pick up a piece of paper, or something plastic by your house?
That's what I do by the street where I live. I pick up the trash and I put it in my recyclable
But I'd like to see some
bins.
covers on these too, so
Yes.
that you know, maybe we could get less containers, but we could get better containers along the way.
Yeah, I was just watching something on TV the other night that you were speaking of, and the community had a container with it was basically the way a trash one is, but the container's lid was attached.
Right.
It was beautiful, and I thought, well, no wonder that neighborhood looks wonderful, because one of our biggest problems, which I agree with, is the fact that the recyclables blow all over the place. We pick them up all the time. I mean, it's a constant thing. I just discussed it with the president on the board of the Water Authority the other night when I was out there about the same thing.
There's also a lot of people who aren't putting out their recyclables at all with the regular trash that needs to be addressed as well.
And that has to be out, I think, as a reminder from council or the city as well. Sam, if you would be kind enough, or you would be kind enough to let them know that recyclable containers can be picked up at City Hall, and please recycle. I don't know, do we have to get a Smokey the Bear, like, you know, for recycled, you know, prevent
It is the
fire,
law.
stop littering?
It is the
We
law.
might need something like that to promote it, that it's done more often in the area.
Because that's a big chunk of the city's money. I mean, how much money is the city taking in every year from the recyclables? How much are they getting from the tin? How much are they getting from the plastic? I mean, that's another item that should be presented. Or is that money being given to the garbage collector? Is that part of his contract? I mean, where is that money? There's a company over in Freeland that's making money grinding up all the plastic containers. And so they're buying that product from someplace. Are they buying it from us locally here? And if they are, where is that money coming from? Who's getting that? Is that coming into the city budget, or is that going to the garbage collector who's reselling the product? I think that's an item that needs to also be addressed and find out too, because it's income that should be going to the city. Thank you very much for your time, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Comments from the mayor, who's not here? Comments from our new administrator? You could make a comment if you'd like, Tom.
I mean, I don't have a lot to say right now. I mean, I'm still assessing things the way they're being done. You know, I working hard, get the audits done, get things in shape, and move forward. So I will continue to do that. That's, you know, like I had stated in one of the interviews, wherever I'm at, I try to leave a place better than I found it, and I intend on doing that till the day I leave here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Comments from council? Keith, you want to make a comment? Oh, junior council, sorry.
Well, I suppose the only thing I can really say is, right now, we're trying to get back on track to be a good city, and we thank the citizens that are here, you know, for staying strong, and, you know, hearing some of your comments, you know, it sounds very frustrating, you know, and there's a lot of blame going on whatever sides to whatever, but I would just like to remind everybody, you know, hang in there. We're gonna get there. This council seems like they've really got something going for us, you know. I don't know if we have a budget or not. From what I've heard, we may have a possible budget, which sounds exciting to me.
I don't know either.
I'm happy, you know. I mean, you know, we're trying our hardest to run the city as hard as we can. So I just would like to just remind everybody, hang in there, you know. Life's a little hard, but we just got to keep pressing on.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keith, you'd like to make a comment?
I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Thanks, Mike, for coming, and welcome aboard, and good luck on zoning. And Tom, thanks for taking the time out today to talk with me and answer my questions, and thanks for coming tonight. And if you stay on, I'm looking forward to working with you. Sounds like you have a lot of good ideas. To address Mr. Barna, something that you said about inspections, there was a rental inspection ordinance passed about 1.5 years ago. Administration really hasn't enforced it. This council seems like they want to change it or eliminate it based on things that have been said over the past couple months. So I don't know where that is going or where it's headed. Hopefully at some point we can inspect rental properties. It was something that I was trying to get done a long time ago, and it's just kind of fallen by the wayside. So hopefully at some point that can address a lot of the issues that we do have. I don't know if it ever will. So. And everybody have a good rest of the week.
Thank you. Jeff?
Yeah, I got a few things here. I wanted to ask Tom, are you aware of the McKinley Street situation over there? I mean, the McKinley Street where the fire was and the demolition?
No, I'm not.
Okay, because we voted on moving forward with the cleanup, and Fallon left. I don't know who was in charge of putting out RFP to get that cleaned up.
McGinley Street? McGinley Street?
McKinley.
McKinley Street.
4th and McKinley. I'd like to get that moved forward as soon as we can. I have a question. I guess most of these questions are going to be kind of directed towards you now because you left alone over there. Our past city administrator had gotten bills from our engineer that he felt that should have been more detailed and asked not to be paid yet. And I just want to know if you would pick up that and get the more detailed bills from our engineer, because there's some things in there like if we have a contract with a Hazleton City, a company, why are we paying travel time? So I would just hope you would look into the engineering bills that we're getting. A couple of weeks ago with the pension fund investment, there was 13 to 14 proposals that were brought in, and I'm assuming that they have to be scored by now, and they haven't been brought in front of us yet to be picked. I was wondering if you knew.
Well, I do know the pension management, financial management, has been assigned to someone, and they are transferring the assets. It happened prior to me being employed here. I'm assuming, actually, I think we did post the winning bid. Lisa, correct me if I'm not sure we actually posted the tracking sheet. I know I sent that out to the unsuccessful bidders, I believe, as required by Act 47. Don't hold me to the exact act, but that has been communicated out. So, what are you looking for exactly?
I was just wondering if it was finished, if it was awarded yet.
It has been awarded.
It has been awarded. Okay. I guess my next question would be about the parking authority. The merger was supposed to be complete on April 1st. If that is going to take place or not, do we need to have some job descriptions? Because all the people that were working for the parking authority are going to come, if any of them are going to come work for the city, would there have to be new job descriptions opened up, and we have to do a hiring process if this is supposed to take place on April 1st?
We don't have that in the budget, Jeff, because he's using the 2013 budget, so there's no place to put them in.
Okay, I got, but
I could check into it. I mean, we're not really using the 2013 budget, but
Well,
I mean, it's
like I said, that was part of the one budget,
well, yes.
and
Well,
we don't have.
I just want to know if we have to worry about hiring employees, because if this is going to take place next week, which I don't think we're on track for, but all these people need to be hired, or at least the jobs would have to be written up and brought in.
Well, we're not sure we're hiring them. We don't know what's going on, Jeff.
Well, okay, I just want to know because the deadline's approaching there.
Yeah.
Did we get the 2012 audit in from Dennis Moore yet?
I chased it down. I have a 2012 draft.
Did you still have the draft?
That's what we have.
So I, intend on getting that complete as soon as possible. I'd like to see the 13 followed immediately afterwards.
Okay, well, that was my question. We have to pick the auditor for the 13 yet. It was tabled in December, I believe, and we still haven't.
We haven't chosen an auditor.
We haven't chosen one for
That was
the 13.
something that I talked to Tom about today.
Okay.
And you go ahead and.
I mean, my opinion on that would, because we're behind, we're also trying to complete the 2011 single audit to the state, which basically tracks our grants and puts you at risk of not getting grant money when they're not completed timely. So I'm extremely all over audits because I think it's very imperative and important, and I think it would be wise to approve the current auditor going forward, at least for one more year, to maintain the continuity and the efficiency of getting the audits expedited. I'm a big fan of rotating auditors on a regular basis, but when you're behind the eight ball, again, I just think it's a wise decision to carry it forward one more year, and then look for somebody new.
And I was driving past the street department the other day, and there's a lot of the old street lights and the poles are there. Do you know how we're going to dispose of those? Are we going to be able to? Are we scrapping them or selling the lights, or?
I would hope there's some value to them, whether that's scrap or
Did
some
they belong
resale.
to the city, or did it?
I would have to check on it, sir. 2 weeks. I don't know yet.
No, I just.
But would you like it? Would you like me to follow up on it, or?
I would just be before they disappear. I would just like to know if we're going to be able to get some
Where
money
they
out
end
of them.
up
I mean,
with
there's quite a bit of aluminum over there. I was just. But I guess that's about it for that. But I do want to thank you for coming, and I'm sure you're going to be given the title of acting. But I do believe you're very qualified. I'm looking forward to working with you in the future. I'd also like to thank the city workers and department heads that do come to every meeting and stick around to answer questions for us. And I guess just thank everybody else.
Thank you.
Thanks. Sir?
Yeah, just a couple things real quick. Just to re-echo some of the things that Jeff had said. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who's here. And thank you for your contributions. I wish I had better answers for you, Sylvia. And I wish I had better answers. I'm sorry, I forgot your name again. I'm sorry.
Diana. Jessel.
I know what it's like. I go through that every day. I hear cars at all hours of the night. I see cars. My car's been broken into any number of times, and I know precisely what you're talking about. And we've got to get a handle on this. Somehow, some way, we've got to get a handle on it. Why anybody is out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm still not sure. But the fact of the matter is, something that needs to be done, and we need to talk to the chief, and we need to deal with the police. And that doesn't mean that they're not doing a good job, but we've got to do more, and we've got to be vigilant as individuals as well. One of the things that I forgot to mention last time, and we had some people here from Carson Street 2 meetings ago about parking down there. And guys, I don't know if you were notified in the streets department as of yet about it, but I did hear from, I guess, Lisa, was it you who had called me about that they had signs and that they were going to take some of the signs down on Carson, but it's the streets department that's actually going to have to do it. And there will be parking at least on one side eventually down there on Carson Street. If you take a look at Carson Street, there's no parking on either side. Yeah. And those two signs are as old, they're older than me. Right. And I'm 64. So, and even the old handicap signs aren't even made like that anymore. So maybe if you guys can take a look at it and again, expedite whatever needs to be done down there.
You'd have to get in touch with Frank.
Okay.
We can mention it to him, but, I...
Okay. And we'll make a phone call on down there as well. I also gave the guys tonight, we've been talking, Hazleton has become the city of potholes. We've got more potholes than we care to think about, and it's hurting our cars, and it's hurting, I'm sure, the equipment of this city. There is an establishment in New Hampshire, I believe it is, and they do an infrared street patching. And it seals it much better than any of the other sealing has been done, where it literally melts the asphalt that's there, and so that you can put patch on. And it can be used 365 days a year. The savings is tremendous, obviously, after the cost is incurred of getting the equipment. It's out in New Hampshire, and I believe it's about and it's not cheap, it's about $30,000, but eventually, with all the potholes and all the work that we have to do in the city, I think it needs to be something that we need to look at. And so I'm going to, we'll have to pass that on to the mayor. I just pulled it off the computer tonight. I'd seen it, but I just finally got a hold of it. So I want that Carson Street known. The equipment, it may be something that we can look at. I think that's important. I think that would save everybody. You never need to use cold patch again. You can tar in the depth of wintertime with this.
Right, I read the description on it.
I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. So I think we need to start taking a look at that.
Did Frankie take a look at it?
No, I could give him the sheet.
Maybe
that-
Give him the sheet that I
information.
just left you.
Yeah, have him take a look at it.
As far as cleaning the city, I think, you know, there's a day coming on up in April that is a national cleanup day. I think that we need to have more cleanup days in Hazleton on a regular basis. I think we need groups on out, and I saw it within, I think it was just last year or the year before, when we had a cleanup day in Hazleton, and we had church groups out, we had scout groups out, we had all kind of groups on out, and if we could do that even once a month. Now, I know that attendance eventually wears on down after a while and it gets a little bit old, but I think when you build up the pride and the spirit of the town in which you live, I think that helps. And for my sake, what's one Saturday morning when you can do a little bit of sweeping and a little bit of raking and get this stuff cleaned on up and have maybe one of the trucks just go out up and down the street and pick some of the stuff up. I think it would be worth it. So thank you again. I'm sorry for keeping everybody by keeping my mouth flapping, but these are some of the things I needed to take care of.
Thank you. Jean, you can comment?
Thank you for coming. I say this every week, and I really appreciate the fact that you do come. I did talk to Mike about the hot patch. It's a very good idea. It's a machine that will actually you'll be able to utilize and reuse the tar.
This is a little different. I'll show you after the meeting.
Okay.
This is different than the email that you sent me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But I mean, either
because they're
one.
both 30,000 in that area.
Yeah.
And
right.
the one I talked to you about, you could utilize asphalt that was torn up,
Right.
and it
Right.
actually melts it, and
Right.
you could reutilize it again. So you're saving yourself instead of going out to buy asphalt. It's something to be looked at, and if that's for the
Right,
sealer,
that's exactly.
they both complement each other. As far as a thank you for coming, and I know you'll do a good job for us. I appreciate the fact that you were concerned with the audits. We definitely are. We'll have to decide what we're going to do with the auditor, but we'll have a discussion with you on that. As far as Diane, okay, we had problems on Alter Street, and we still do, but there was a patrol that from community development, they get extra money for the police to patrol areas that are really problematic areas. And we had them patrol Alter Street, and I believe they're still doing it, and they're allowed to patrol other areas of the city that are problematic. So I'll send off an email to Chief DeAndrea. Maybe we can get some more patrols in your area, because that shouldn't be happening on a constant basis with you. So there has to be some type of oversight. But we're not going to move them from Alter Street because that needs it as well. We have areas in this town, let's be perfectly honest, they are hot spots, and they really need to be taken care of. As far as you, sir, with the inspections, what had happened a few weeks ago is we tried to avoid going into a lawsuit with the landlord association, and we asked our solicitor to separate the rental registration ordinance from the inspection ordinance, okay? And by doing so, we have hopes of going into negotiations with the landlords so that we can come up with a program and an idea and an ordinance that everybody is favorable with, okay? That's beneficial to the landlords and it's beneficial to the city, with avoiding going into a lawsuit and whatnot. That money could be utilized someplace else better. I believe in working together and ironing things out, and this is what we intend to do, right? So we'll keep you posted. We have to wait till we hear from the solicitor on that process of it getting done. I'd like to thank Mr. Lee. You come from a good family. Your grandparents were wonderful. I used to shop in your grandmother's store, Seals on Broad Street. And I do agree a lot with Sylvia. The businesses, good luck, by the way. the businesses, you're seeing boarded up and whatnot. We do want to see that turnaround. Hazleton's not what it used to be, but there's no reason that we can't make it better than what it is right now. I agree with David with the youth and coming in for cleanup days. Maybe we need to send something out to the school district, because in the summertime we could utilize some of the kids that are looking for graduation projects and don't have one to do a cleanup for us, a day or two, all right? That would help us out. Any of the groups, maybe Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, they can earn merit badges. You know, any type of participation that we can get would more than welcome, and we just would love it, because even you, each one of you, I mean, if you see something, bend over and pick it up. It will be good for your waistline, number one. But besides that, you know, people look at things and say, it's not mine, I didn't throw it. Pick it up and throw it away. Take it home with you, put it in a bag, whatever. But pitch in, everybody pitch in. And maybe we do need somebody that is like a Smokey the Bear. Maybe we do need a mascot in town to promote this, so that we get the kids involved and that they learn that it's not a garbage can. The city is a place that you keep clean, just like your home. So hopefully we can get them involved in those things. Thank you for coming. Thank the departments for coming, the guys that come here faithfully, the department heads that come here. We appreciate it if we see you at the meetings. We appreciate the fact that Charlie's here. And have a good week, everybody.
Thank you, Jane. I just have one or two quick things. Michael, I want to wish you well and thank you for coming forward. Public service isn't easy, especially the zoning board. You make one or two friends and maybe 10 enemies at every decision, but just do what you think is right for the city, and I'm sure you'll do fine. I know I think they meet once a month. Once a month. Are they short any more people?
No, they're full now with Mike.
Is that full? You're the fifth board member? Well, I wish you luck. Thank you. The other thing I want to say is, Tom, my problem voting no wasn't with you, the problem was with the mayor. So my reason for voting no is not you, but the mayor butting in saying when you could come to meetings. He is, I guess ultimately, he's the one who hired you and suggested to hire you. And I guess it's conflicting when you're told by council, we'd like to see you at the meetings, and we were told by the mayor, who shouldn't be at the meeting, who isn't coming to meetings, and telling you not to come. I guess you're going to listen to the mayor. I'm assuming that's why he butted in to answer the question. So what I'm assuming is you're not going to be coming to many of our meetings. So you're not saying anything on that?
I'll decline the comment right now on that one.
I know you're qualified. Your resume is impressive. I know your work at the county too. I followed the county. I've been to a couple meetings, especially when they had them here. I might have met you once when there was a meeting here. I don't know. Did you come here for a meeting once or twice?
Reassessment time, yeah.
Reassessment? You were here for that reassessment meeting?
Yes.
Well, I was the one who said reassessment was a bad idea. It wasn't a good time. And consequently, Hazleton, because of that reassessment, we're getting the short end of the stick. Our tax assessment versus to what people are selling their properties now is unbelievably out of whack. People are selling their properties for 20, 30, 40, and 50% of their assessments. No other place in the county is like that. I went to county meetings saying they need to reassess our taxes again to try to get them in line. We're paying more than the rest of the county.
My opinion would be is they need to do it on a somewhat regular basis.
Originally, that was the idea.
And it's not.
Originally, they had planned to do that.
It shouldn't be a $10 million project, not with technology and maps, Google Maps, all kinds. There's a different way of doing it.
At the one meeting I was at, I had some of the commissioners convinced at a recent, not too long ago, about the need for a reassessment for Hazleton, because I think our taxes are way out of line compared to what they're getting for their properties once they're sold, and compared to properties in Mountaintop and other areas, you know, I'm sure properties in Mountaintop, where you live in Laurel Lakes?
I live in Dorrance Township, actually, right around the Dorrance Township Municipal Building. Wallopin's the mailing address, but I'm in Dorrance.
You're in Dorrance? Yeah.
Yes.
But what I'm sure is that properties in Mountaintop have probably exceeded their assessment, and they're getting more than their assessed value, where we in Hazleton are getting less. I mean, that's another issue anyway. But I just wish you well, and
Thank you.
I hope to see you at the meetings, but even if you're not at the meetings, we'll try and make Hazleton a better place. The other thing, Diane, I asked the chief about that too. The last time there were 6 or 7 people hit with a BB gun, I said, what about if we offer a reward? I mean, the chief didn't really say anything. That was because I was asking for other things about a reward.
The sad part about it is, a tire cost me $85. The BB's window twice, $99 each. The front tire and the rim, that was $107. My deductible is $250. I am a retired nurse.
I know.
I am paying for
I know.
while these people have nothing to do all night except collect welfare during the day.
I know.
This is a game changer.
I know it happened. I know it happened last year. I don't know. Last year in the beginning of the summer, it was done again, and I asked the chief about it, but you know, I don't know what you know. I
don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I just have had it.
Well.
I have a handicap sign in front of my house because I have a condition. I can't park there. I have to go on the side streets. I move my car every couple days.
I know
I'm ready to park it on 2nd and James. I live in a single house. I'm a widow.
I'm on 4th and Lincoln, so I know. I know your problem, but you know, I don't know what the answer is. You know, the chief. I wish the chief was at our meetings. He hasn't come to a lot of the meetings, or he hasn't been to the last 3 or 4 of them. And I wish he would come, so we could address him or talk to him about the problems or what he thinks he could do. And it's frustrating.
Could you compel him to attend?
Well, that's another issue we're going to deal with maybe at the next meeting. But you know, I don't know. You know, I had talked. I mean, we're getting cameras on Alter Street. You know, could we get them elsewhere? Yeah, I'd like to get cameras all over. I'd like to get a drone that goes over the city, but yeah, maybe at the next meeting we'll talk to the chief and maybe getting a patrol down your area at night or.
Because the extra money is.
That's what the Lear was for. You screwed up because you didn't have the Lear, now you have a drone to go over the city.
Yeah, well, that's true. We'll get anything. Well. At that, I just want to wish Tom, I wish you well. I know you'll do your best. I got a bunch of calls on you anyway. Said you did a great job at the county, but all my best to you. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.